Welcome to Isis in the Bible, the Fall Gathering, Week 4, Mona Lisa. The question today is, what wisdom can you share about the womb? Surely you've heard of the vesica Piscis, the beautiful shape of the entrance and exit of light's illumination. We need to talk more about how we come into this world, these waters, which can only be achieved through the womb of the mother. Did someone say matriarchal? Glad you could join us today. What's happening in the sky? Thanks, Sister Judy, for guiding me to see this. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but it happened. What's happening in the sky? Well, the plot thickens. Rather, the story goes as planned. Just briefly, we're going to talk about a few alignments. At this time on December the 7th, it's important. Mercury is passing the sun in retrograde. Lilith is still with Pallas. By the way, this is what they use that symbol for Lilith, the asteroid Lilith. And they use the wrong Lilith one for Black Moon. And Black Moon is, so there's going to be some quite the deep signs with Vesta of the Vestal Virgins, which is in Virgo. And of course, the South Node is still in Virgo. And then Mother Mary is with Hygeia. Oh, and by the way, Susan, we predicted a my lungs cleansing with Mars in Gemini, which is the lungs, pre-predicted. So you are obviously affected too by Mars in Gemini. And what Gemini is, that's the twins. It's not twins so much as two, it's one. There's Pollux, which sits on the pole star, and on the Egyptian walls, her feet are together. She's not walking. That means stillness, that's pure, right? And then tethered to the man who's walking, making waves. When our lungs are acting up, we meant to make sure that we're listening to our feminine guidance, because she's the one that's holding us. And I know you're doing that. I am doing that as much as I can. I just need to listen more, because it's been going on the full 2 weeks now for me, right? So it's predicted. I tell people it's asthma, so they don't worry, all right? Because asthma is not catchy. If I pre-predicted it, ain't no virus. There's no such thing as a virus. It's just a snake spitting its poison. So that Hygeia brings that into effect. Kathy got hit really hard with Hygeia on Mars, Saturn on Mars, and hers is in Cancer, the stomach. And her stomach completely collapsed. She went into 2 vomiting stages, and I watched it in her chart. And you could see the second one coming that only lasted for minutes. It's all there, folks. You're just releasing energies. But the most important one that I wanted to show coming up is Ceres, which is the one that takes you out of the visible. It's yours. It's just you. Nobody takes you out. It's just you. And Pluto are in alignment. During the Black Plague, when people left the visible, this alignment's there. It happens every so often because Ceres goes around every few years. But this one's important because we're just leaving this Osiris, raising of Osiris. So I just thought I'd mention it. On the flip side, when you're doing your work, this becomes very invigorating. Your ability to talk with the people who have left the visible, your most highest self, really takes off. So get ready. So in the tarot, Pluto, which is Anubis, I'll show you that in a minute, is the death card, and that's God the Father. This is your highest masculine self. And the Hanged Man is Sarah, that's Amit, and we'll talk about that in a minute. That's the crocodile that eats your heart if it's not as light as a feather. So in the weighing of the heart scene, here is Pluto, okay? That's Anubis. See, Pluto's a dog, right? They call it a jackal, but it's a dog, clearly. Holding your hand at the weighing of the heart ceremony. There's Ceres, Amit, the one that eats your heart, the one that takes you out of the visible, stops your heart from beating, right? Because this is the alignment that's happening. When you look up top here at the weighing of the heart, this is the Last Supper. You have 12, see, these two got things in their head. We'll get into this another time, but then there's 12 sitting there like this. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the 3 separations that we'll talk about in a moment in Da Vinci's painting. So this is you understanding all the different essences of the zodiac. You don't have to go and learn astrology, but when you're starting to learn and understand all the different vibrations about you, you are the one who's leading forth the Mazzaroth through the ages. So this is you, Anubis. You're holding the hands of Anubis, which is really you. And when you pass the weighing of the heart, they call it Osiris. So just because mainstream is giving them labels doesn't mean they're not the same person. They are the same person. This is you holding your higher self's hand. And then you, when you have passed the weighing of the heart and you're carrying your own judgment tools, no one's going to judge you. No, a police officer is not going to stop you. You'll stop yourself. Your car will just stop if you're speeding. Things are just happening because you are in control of your own destiny. And again, these are the 2 Marys and the 4 royal stars, the 4 gateways, those 4 essences. So the power of Ceres and Pluto to have people leave the visible and to attain this wisdom to those whom left the visible and your higher self, guidance is everywhere for you. So that's what this alignment coming up in the 10th is reminding you of. You are infinite, and you are all these players on the Egyptian walls. They're naming them something different, but it's not really that. So the confusion on what is written on the Egyptian walls is not that Anubis and Osiris are different. So Anubis and Osiris, though traditionally seen as separate deities, can be understood as 2 aspects of the same essence within the context of spiritual evolution. Anubis, often depicted as a jackal's head and associated with the color black, right? Black purity, represents the higher self or the guide through the thresholds of life and death. His blackness symbolizes the potential and hidden wisdom with leading the soul through transformation after transformation. In this stage, Anubis acts as the psychopomp, the facilitating of the soul's journey through spiritual trials and guiding it towards self-realization. Self-realization is the key here. Realizing that you are the one, you transmute, you put yourself back in the portal, you take yourself out. It's you and your experiences. When you can grasp that, things start to change. So that's Pluto. So Osiris, traditionally depicted as a mummified king with green or black skin, symbolizes the self-realized aspect of the soul, one that has mastered the journey and now stands as the king of its own realm. Osiris, holding the crook and flare, represents both guidance and discipline, tools of sovereignty over one's spiritual world, not sovereignty over others. That's absolutely ridiculous. You can only be sovereign over yourself. Everything else is guidance. So the weighing of the heart becomes an internal process where the individual soul, having been guided by Anubis, or your higher self, judges itself in alignment with the scales of love, which is synonymous with the ether. Thus, Anubis and Osiris are not separate figures, but tethered phases of the same spiritual entity. Anubis reflects the soul in its transitional guiding role, while Osiris represents the soul's ultimate realization, becoming the ruler of spiritual destiny, maintaining balance through love and self-judgment. So again, tomorrow is the biblical sign in the stars that we've been talking about. Has your veil started to lift? Many people are starting to see that. You're seeing a lot of people's veils lift. People are reaching out to me and they're saying, wow, what's this energy? What are we feeling? Having old structures no longer needed, starting to fall, which is happening. It's happening out there. All the banks are getting sued. Corporations are filing. Pharmaceutical companies, they're all closing. While the new communities are all around the world are reuniting. While these structures are falling, we're reuniting. So are they? Yes, absolutely they are. So tomorrow, the 17th, is the raising of Osiris, aka raising the Christ within. Synchronistically, Susan shares a video which shows this painting, the L'Orlando ante Cristo Muerto, Pietro Lorenzetti, 14th century, location Pinacoteca Nazionale, Siena, Italy. This powerful work by Pietro, a master of Sienese school in the early 14th century, captures the poignant moment of the lamentation of Christ. The painting depicts the dead body of Christ surrounded by mourners, including the Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene. This is that same scene of raising Osiris. There's the black, so that would be Virgin Mary, and there's the red, that would be Mary Magdalene, the one that's with the sun, at the feet and at the head. This exact alignment. Mary Magdalene, Juno, Nephthys, the sun at Virgo Libra, the harvest line. And this is also happening in the sky. Mother Mary with the womb. This image, this painting, which is almost everywhere, is happening in the sky tomorrow. We left this on the Egyptian walls for a reason. It's a reminder that we're changing. We're coming to the revelation of who we really are. It's beautiful, folks. So let's do a little deep dive into Vinci's painting of the Last Supper to see if it reveals anything else that people haven't seen. First, let's get to the oldest discussion of the Last Supper. So the Tanakh creation was in 12th century BC to the 2nd century BCE, so before Jesus. Many scholars and theologians believe that the Last Supper draws upon and reinterprets elements of Jewish Passover traditions, which are rooted in the Tanakh. The Last Supper is commonly misunderstood by Christians to have been a Passover meal, which commemorates the Exodus, the liberation of the Israelites from Egypt, described in Exodus 12 in the Torah. So we know that many have shown, Santos, Bonacci, and many people have shown that this is the zodiac sign. You can see it. When you look, there's Aries, the head, the ram. There's Taurus. You can see that's the home of Juno, Mary Magdalene. So you can see the pink. Gemini is holding up the two lungs. See? The twins. Cancer, Leo, and there's Virgo. There's a female there. The sun is in the middle. Libra, Scorpio in behind. See the stinger? Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and then you got Pisces, the two hands, the two fish showing up. That is what Da Vinci painted. Why is there a woman in the painting? Well, of course, it's Virgo. So notice that the sun, you, is between Virgo and Libra. This happens on the 17th of October. Like we showed you, the sun is between Virgo and Libra. That's the harvest, the Last Supper. The reason why we have the Last Supper And we talk about the bread and the wine. Well, because grapes get harvested at harvest time, and so does wheat get harvested at harvest time. So that's why they call it the Last Supper. So really today's gathering is the Last Supper before tomorrow. It's beautiful. So this is why the Christians still hold to the ritual of eating the bread and drinking the wine, which they call the blood, which is not nice. So we talked about that. The sun, here we go, is with Juno between Libra and Virgo. The sun is between Virgo and Libra at the harvest line. So did Da Vinci leave something else? As a reminder, Da Vinci was 13 years old, the last Phoenix rising. Every 558 years, we have a Phoenix rising. So he was very well aware of what he was painting to do with the Phoenix rising, and way deeper than that. Well, was there something else in this painting? Yeah, absolutely there was. So would he make this painting based on what he knew was happened in the past? About a Jesus in the past? Or would he leave something for himself in the future so that when he reincarnates, he would remember? Which one would it be? He's going to project forward, would he not? Well, here you go. Here's your proof. Everyone, now look at this. Everyone here is facing this way, except for Mary, of course, the mother. She shouldn't be. All these three are facing the sun, but these three are not. Let me bring in the blow up. So these three, look, Capricorn is facing Aquarius, and so is Pisces. He's telling you the next Phoenix rising, we're going into Aquarius. He has so many deep-rooted messages that only come click when you start realizing what he's doing. So he was projecting messages for himself because he knows he reincarnates. That's the beauty of this. Okay, so you get that you transmigrate. We're showing you that, we're telling you that. You're starting to believe that, I hope. You can project yourself into the future. Here's some synchronicities, rather how we talk from the past into this present now. Thanks, Marion, for adding to the synchronicities on top of Sean Ryan and a dream from my grandmother telling us that we are upon abundance and to note the matriarchal rule is upon us. Sean asked, does anyone know what is written on the scroll or the stone in the hands of the angelic being at the feet? It looks like they both have a scroll or a stone. He is speaking of the raising Osiris scene, which we've been speaking of. So he's asking about this one and that one. We'll save this one for Mary Magdalene for another time. But if you look at this, if you zoom in, so I'm zooming in here, zooming in, thanks, Sean. And you look what's here, when you zoom in, what do you see? A whole bunch of vesica Pisces. This is you transmigrating, pushing yourself forward. I don't know all these other ones, okay? I know a few, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But this is what they're saying to you. They're telling you about how you get to transmigrate from womb to womb. There is no separation. When the umbilical cord gets cut, you're still tethered through the ether, through pure love. And when you leave the visible, you're heading to another womb. You have no choice. But how that experience is up to you by every one of your actions that you do today. That's the beautiful part. So we should be investigating these scrolls. I wish I knew all the meanings, but I know a few. So before we get into it, let's just take a quick look here. This right here, this portion right here is on the Egyptian walls, and that's called the plow. When we plow the soil, do not we make that black soil rich again, ready for the new seed? But as you can see, this is the jackal. This is Anubis. Anubis is protecting that hole because you got the weighing of the heart. So he is watching over that. So this would be the little dipper, right? And the pole star. So you can see that they're showing the pole. And then also here, you see somebody standing in front, and then this image, right? Sitting on the throne. So it's Mother Mary, the womb, talking about you, the weighing of the heart, your entrance back into the womb. That's what's being spoke about here. And this is the golden ratio triangle that I was telling you about. That when you make the circles to create the three sides of this golden ratio triangle, you can look this up. There's a lot of videos out there on how this self-folds. You can see one, and then you see a second one, and then you see a third one, how it self-folds in. It creates the vesica Piscis. The pyramids are telling you, can you see the crown? Can everybody see the crown? This crown where the baby's head comes through see it? See the crown? So when you do these self-folding, the holographic of the golden ratio triangle, Ken Wheeler shows it. He's got videos on it. It shows you, and as we discussed, this is the shape of the water molecule. The vesica Piscis, when you see the lines, that would be Mary Magdalene, but the space in between would be Virgin Mary, the ether, where you go when you leave the visible, back to another womb. And there's a little dipper there. That's the symbol up there. So it's all really telling. It's absolutely beautiful. So first Ryan says, look, and we find the womb and the guardian of the womb on the Isis scroll, on Virgin Mary's scroll. Then I have a dream from my grandmother about abundance the next day. And then Marion sends this video. What a synchronicity for us all. Another example of unity, the Celestine prophecy in action in the video. Archaics welcomes Chief Ironbush. So that's Brother Jason Brashears. So thanks for sharing this. They discuss the profound role of the divine feminine across ancient traditions, from matriarchal lineage and the mother symbolism to the sacred essence of Eve and the feminine completion, which uncover how these themes reveal the creative and nurturing forces that shape our spiritual understanding. So he talks about these 5 points, the matriarchal lineage. In traditional cultures, particularly on Turtle Island, that would be North America, society was matriarchal. Lineage was traced through the mother's line, not the father's line, and individuals integrated into their spouse's tribe after marriage. This system highlights the central role of the feminine in maintaining tribal continuity and spiritual leadership. Mother symbolism, the moon symbolized by the zodiac sign Cancer represents the nurturing power of the mother, right? Cancer is the stomach, what you eat is who you are, and the breasts, because what you eat, you feed your baby. So that's why it's the moon symbol. And remember, Mother Mary aligns with the moon tomorrow. So the feminine energy is associated with creation, birth, and cycles of life, reflecting the divine role of the feminine in the universe. Eve and the feminine power. Contrary to traditional interpretations, Eve was not created from Adam, as Adam was created from her. Eve, as the mother of all living, represents the divine feminine as the primary source of creation and life, not a derivative of the masculine. The great mother. Ancient cultures revered the feminine as the life giver and sustainer. We're saying that, right? It's the womb. Everybody today spoke about that. It's the portal, it's the nourishment, all those beautiful things. Names like Mount Meru, Mary, Mar, all relate to the water and the great mother, symbolizing the essential and nurturing force of the divine feminine in nature and spirituality. Feminine completion. The number 9 symbolizes divine completion and association with the feminine energy in esoteric traditions. The number represents fulfillment of spiritual growth and balance, with feminine energy seen as a guiding force towards spiritual completion. Folks, we're heading back to the matriarchal rule, not as someone who is a ruler, but to gauge yourself. Rule yourself with the guidance of a mother's love, pure love. So now you understand why Da Vinci painted a self-portrait as being the mother, the mona, the nonna, the monad, the matriarch. Get it? This is him knowing that he's going back to the womb of the mother, and he's going to project himself into the next womb. Folks, they say reincarnation was removed from the Bible. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's still here in John chapter 14, verses 2 and 3. It says, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. Well, a mansion is a staying or a dwelling. That's our body. That's our reincarnation. embodiments. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. So the interpretation is, my dear infant, we've had many stays as our forefathers and foremothers. I speak the truth. The love I hold now and the wisdom I gain is setting the stage for your stay. If I do this with love, I will stay once again and be with you. We are together once more. So we are infinite, and we project ourselves into the next womb when we leave the visible, but our experience depends on how we're manifesting ourselves. Another synchronicity, thanks to Tally, like all others here in our gathering, we are adding our name, and she's adding her name, to the list of influential wise ones. She sent me this picture, and she said, look at the eagle's head in the fire. Well, didn't we just talk about Aquila, the eagle, during this October 17th? So here's a synchronicity of her seeing the eagle in the fire, the phoenix rising through the ashes. This is beautiful. Everything talks to us, because why? Every atom holds the womb. Every atom holds the ether. So if you want to get some knowledge from enlightened ones, come and visit us here, because everyone here gives us all kinds of beautiful enlightenment. These are the people that you should look at too. Helena Blavatsky, Rudolf Steiner, G.I. Gurdjieff. I never heard of him. I looked him up today. Wow, this guy is absolutely amazing. Edgar Cayce, Alice Bailey, Paramahansa Yogananda, Kathy studies him, and Ken Wheeler. So these are awesome, awesome people if you want to learn more. So with tomorrow being the 7th day of the 7th moon, remember 10 days were added to the calendar, so tomorrow's the 7th day of the 7th moon. Know that the veil is lifting and it's your showtime. It's about you and your journey with everyone around you guiding you so that we can all meet in the middle, the point called love. So know that you're projecting yourself into the next womb with every action that you take. You are infinite. Get over it. And that's all we have for today.